welcome back to Food Prep Guide. I need to do some quick lunch meal prep today. If you are someone who likes cup of noodles or ramen noodles, but you do not like the unhealthy ingredients and the insane amounts of sodium, this video is going to be for you. We are going to meal prep some homemade ramen noodle cups in jars. We've got some different vegetable options, some different flavor options, and when you make it yourself at home, you can control the ingredients and keep out anything that you want to keep out and make them a lot healthier. So let's go ahead and get started.
By the way, if you would like help building your food storage, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for our free 1-year food storage plan. We calculated a year's supply of food for one person, then broke that data down into a week-by-week list of items to build your pantry on a budget. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss all of our upcoming food preservation, pantry storage, and gardening tutorials. Now back to the kitchen.
Real quick before we get started, this video is part of the freeze-dried February collaboration hosted by the Inquisitive Farmwife. This is going to be a playlist all throughout the month of February of different channels coming and showing you how the different ways that you can use your freeze-dried foods, storage ideas, all of those awesome things. These ramen noodle cup in jars do feature freeze-dried ingredients, but don't worry if you don't have a freeze dryer. I'm going to show you an alternative method so that you can still make these noodle cups even if you don't have a freeze dryer. Speaking of which, if you don't have a freeze dryer, that's what's really exciting about this collaboration, is because it is also a giveaway where they are giving away a medium Harvest Right freeze dryer. I will insert the giveaway link that you need to enter down in the description box below. If you don't have a freeze dryer, this is an awesome opportunity to put your hat in the ring to possibly win one. I know only one person can win, but that one person could be you, and it won't be you if you don't enter. So that link will be in the description box below. Also in the description box will be a link to the playlist where all of these amazing channels will be brought together in this one playlist, and you can go and watch all of the different ideas being put out. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we only need 4 ingredients for this recipe. It really is very simple. I'm going to go ahead and prep up 6 jars. It's primarily my son who absolutely loves these, so this will last him for a while because he doesn't eat them every day. But to start out, we are going to need some sort of pasta. Now, you want this pasta to be either extremely thin, like angel hair, or parboiled, pre-cooked. So I went ahead and got these Delalo. I thought it was Capellini, but it's not. Oh, Capellini is the type of noodle. Delalo is the brand. I got these off Amazon. I'll have this linked below. But these are called noodle nests. That's what they call them. They're in these little bundles, and I'm putting 2 little nests per jar. That's just what I've been doing, and I have found that they cook up faster when they are kind of crunched up a little bit. So I'm just going to take this little mason jar tamper here and just kind of crunch them up a little bit. If you have, plenty of time, then you really don't have to do this. Like I said, I just find that when they are crunched up a little bit, they cook up faster. You can do this with regular angel hair. I don't recommend spaghetti noodles because they don't cook up quite as fast. Like I said, you want it to be a very thin type noodle or pre-cook it first. Whenever I am testing out a recipe for the first time and I don't know if my family really loves it, I will go ahead and take advantage of shortcuts. So I bought this, but now that I know that my family loves these, I will just buy angel hair in bulk, cook them, and then freeze dry those, create my own little nest. So this isn't actually a freeze-dried project that you can do and avoid having to buy these as well. They're not too expensive. I think they were, I want to say $9 for a bag about this size, which you will see fills up all 6 of our jars plus some. So that's just a good option. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these noodle nest in here. I think I'm going to crunch them as I put them in. I think that would work better than that mason jar tamp. Now, when my younger children eat these, they don't like 2 nests. They eat a smaller portion than my son does. So I'm actually going to do 2 different sizes. I'm going to do 1 or 3 with 2 noodle nests, and 3 with only 1. And if my older son wants to eat one, it's really easy. He can just go into the pantry, grab a little noodle nest, and add it to his jar. Now, if you are going to be, we are almost always home when we make these, so we will dump these out. We will open the lid, dump them out, add water, bring it to a boil, and do it that way. But if you are out and about when you're making these, like maybe you're going to be meal prepping these for lunches, you can absolutely just pour boiling water and let it sit for about 10 minutes. If you're going to be using dehydrated vegetables, which I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit because I haven't showed you that yet, but it will take you longer. I mentioned that I'm going to show you a kind of an alternative option for making these without freeze-dried stuff, and that's what I was talking about, freeze-dried vegetables. So since I'm talking about that, let's just go ahead and move on to that next step, which is our vegetables. I primarily use freeze-dried mixed vegetables. These are the frozen mixed vegetables. You can get them, well, in my area, they're about $1 a bag. And I will just put them straight from the freezer bags onto the freeze dryer trays and pop them in my freeze dryer. If you have a freeze dryer, you know it's as simple as pushing a button and letting the machine do its thing. So I can't really give you a time for how long it takes. You just let the machine do its thing. But I am going to be putting a 1/4 cup-ish. I might go ahead and increase it to 1/2 cup. But this is one of those things that if you keep plenty of vegetables on hand, then it's really easy to just grab them from the pantry and add more if you want to. The other option, if you don't have a freeze dryer, is to use regular dehydrated mixed vegetables. Again, these are the exact same thing. So you can see the color difference, the size difference, the texture difference is a lot different as well. Let me show you that just in case anyone, I get questions a lot about what is the difference between freeze-dried food and dehydrated food. And they are a lot different. So here is a freeze-dried green bean and a dehydrated green bean. You can't really see it. There you go. This crumbles in my hand. This, there's no way I can crumble it. I can break it and snap it in half and break it in half, but it doesn't powder like that. So that's the primary difference. The other primary difference is the time that it takes to rehydrate. Freeze-dried vegetables rehydrate within 5 to 10 minutes. Your dehydrated vegetables are going to take at least 15 to 20 minutes, more like 20 minutes, if not longer, depending on the size of your vegetables. Now, these being frozen mixed vegetables are very small already, so these will likely rehydrate in about 20 minutes or so. If you're dealing with larger chunks of, say, broccoli or cauliflower or big chunks of potatoes, it's going to take longer than that. So you can absolutely use your dehydrated vegetables. Like I said, I'm using a 1/4 cup of freeze-dried vegetables. Here's about 1/4 cup, and let's see, I'm doing a heaping cup because I do want a good bit. Let me see how that looks. I think I want more than that. I'm going to do a little bit more than that. So probably let's do 1/2 cup. So I'm going to do 2 scoops of 1/4 cup. Yeah, that looks better. That looks more of a good ratio between vegetables and noodles. One thing to note, if you are going to be doing dehydrated vegetables, they double in size when you rehydrate them. So if I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of freeze-dried vegetables per jar, I would only do a 1/4 cup of dehydrated vegetables per jar. Freeze-dried vegetables really don't lose much of their volume when being freeze-dried, whereas you saw those dehydrated vegetables, they shrink to about half their size, which means when you rehydrate them, they're going to basically double in size. So just bear that in mind. You would use less vegetables if you're using dehydrated vegetables. Okay, I'm almost done here. The next thing that we're going to be doing is our thickener. Now you have lots of different options for your thickeners. And if you like a super liquidy ramen noodle type soup, then you don't even have to add any kind of thickener. But we do really enjoy a thickened liquid with our, it's more similar to what you would get with a cup of noodles. So you have options here. My favorite option is arrowroot powder or arrowroot flour. This is going to be your gluten-free option. You absolutely can use flour. You can use cornstarch and you can use potato starch. Pretty much you just need a starchy powder to make this work. Arrowroot is my go-to powder for wanting to thicken things when I don't want to use flour for one reason or another. And we are just going to do 1 tablespoon per cup. 1 tablespoon per cup is going to be enough to thicken up this liquid and make it, give it a really nice consistency and just make the meal feel a little more hearty. So 1 tablespoon per pint jar. If I were doing this in quarts and doubling everything, go ahead and double your powder too. Make it 2 tablespoons. So that takes care of our thickener. Now all we need is our flavor options. I have 6 jars here, so I'm going to do 3 chicken and 3 beef. This is my go-to chicken and beef flavors. This is what I use to make our cream of soup mix, cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of everything. This is my go-to, Orrington Farms. I'll have that linked in the description box below. Let me wipe off this scoop real quick. And this, for the flavoring, I'm going to do a heaping tablespoon, so a little more than a tablespoon, but a heaping tablespoon of our seasoning. And that is all of the seasoning that I do in these, y'all. It's very, very simple. You could absolutely do a vegetable powder. I just don't have any on hand. There's not much left. I'm going to put this whole thing in there. You can do a vegetable powder. One thing that I would really love to try is to make my own vegetable bouillon with all of my freeze-dried ingredients. That's another project that I would like to do soon. And if it's successful, I will bring it to you in a video. But a vegetable bouillon made out of home freeze-dried foods, all different flavors, would be, I think that would just be awesome. So that's going to be coming up soon. I hope it's successful. So the next flavor we're going to do is beef. And again, I'm going to be using Orrington Farms beef broth base. And I'm going to do a heaping tablespoon just like we did with the chicken. And I just wanted to note that even though I used less noodles on these, so for instance, let's look at a 2 noodle nest and a 1 noodle nest. I'm using the same amount of flavoring for each one because that flavoring is just really important. It's not going to make it too flavored, if that makes sense. It's going to make it a deeper flavor, probably more flavorful than the ones that have 2 nests, but not so much to where it would not be good. And that is it, y'all. Really, really easy. I'm going to seal these up. Now, you can absolutely vacuum seal these. Every ingredient in here is dry, and because of that, it is totally safe to vacuum seal them. But these 6 jars in my family of 5 is probably not going to last more than 2 weeks. And therefore, I'm not going to worry about vacuum sealing them. It's really not an issue. I'm not worrying about these lasting 6 months to a year. But if I were to do like a mega meal prep of these jars, I would absolutely vacuum seal these. If you don't know how to vacuum seal a mason jar, I will link that video down in the description box below where we show you 3 different methods to get a good solid seal on your vacuum seal. Okay, y'all, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and don't forget to check out to enter the Harvest Right freeze dryer giveaway in the description box below, and check out that playlist of all of the other awesome channels who are participating in Freeze Dried February hosted by the Inquisitive Farmwife. That's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Wait, don't go! I forgot to tell you how to cook the noodles. Kind of important, right? So essentially you want equal amount of water to your solids. In this case, this is about 2 cups of solids, so I would start with 2 cups of water. Now I say I would start with 2 cups of water because really the most important part is that everything is submerged below the water when you start. Obviously the freeze-dried foods are going to plump up and the arrowroot powder is going to start thickening up. The noodles are going to get a little bit thicker as they cook. But you want everything to be submerged, just barely submerged, when you are starting the cooking process. These cook up in about 5 minutes. I mentioned if you are meal prepping these for a lunch out, like at the office or out and about, you could take like a thermos of, pour boiling water in a thermos and take that with you, and then pour that really hot water into the glass jar and let it sit for about 10 or 15 minutes. But when you boil it on the stovetop, it's only going to take about 5 to 7 minutes. So good rule of thumb, equal parts. So 2 cups of mixture-ish start with 2 cups of water, but just make sure you got everything good and submerged when you start the cooking process, and then just cook until it's done, which is just essentially you're looking for the noodles to be done, and y'all know how to tell that. Okay, for real this time. Bye. Hope that was helpful. See you next time.